Hello, everyone. All right, so if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're spending way too much time on really simple tasks and you want to learn how to automate some of your processes. In this video, we'll be talking about how to automate sending an email to a client. In a previous video, which I'll link in the description below, we talked a little bit about how to do that automatically upon form submission. In other words, you submit a form and then automatically it sends a formatted email to a client. But that only works if you want it to happen automatically once you submit a form. So immediately upon form submission, you might not always want to do that. So you might want to verify that everything looks good first, or you might only want to send an email out sometimes, but not always. What to do then? Well, that's what we'll be talking about. All right. So I have here a table in Airtable called Clients Session Notes. So for the purposes of this experiment, we'll say that this is a table where I store all of the session notes that I have after I have a meeting with the client. Okay, now how do we set it up so that we are only sending these notes to a client once we confirm? There are a couple of really easy ways to do that, but my favorite is to use a combination of checkboxes and views. So I created a column here called Send to Client, and I made this a checkbox column. In other words, all that I have to do in order to confirm that I want to send this out is check this box, for example. Just like that. Then I created a view and I called this view Send to Client. As a note, it's really important to clearly label your views. So the way that I did this is I duplicated this view. And then after that, I just renamed it. So something like Send to Clients. Or since I already have a Send to Clients view, I can name this one something else. I'll delete this one for now because it's just a copy. So I created my Send to Clients view and I made it so that this view is filtered so that the only records that show up in this view are ones where Send to Client has been checked. So going back, I have all of my records here. So every time that I submit a session notes form, and I'll show you a little bit about what that looks like. I created this form just to store some of my session notes. So you're able to select your client's name here. You can write notes on the client. I recommend also storing the date of the session. And in this form, you can specify whether you want to send this feedback to the client now. You can check this box at any time. So maybe when you submit this form, you're not ready to send the feedback to the client, but then the next day you've decided, okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and send this. So you can go ahead and in session notes in our main table, update this whenever you want. So our Send to Client view is filtered where Send to Client is checkmarked. So this view will only contain records where I have manually confirmed that I want to send the record of this to a client. So Airtable is set up. Let's head over to Zapier. All right. I'm going to create a Zapier. And then I'm going to open up my editor. All right, so the event in question is when something happens in Airtable. So the app event is Airtable. I've chosen this app. My trigger event here is new record in view. Now, it's really important to select new record in view and not just new record or newer updated record. The reason for this is because if you select new record or newer updated record, then every single time that you submit a form, it's going to send this email out. And you might not always want it to do that. Or in this case, every time you update a record, it's going to send an email out and you probably won't want it to do that. So we're setting new record in view. And then we're going to specify exactly which Airtable account we're using. I only have one hooked up to this particular Zapier account. And after that, we're going to select our base, our table, and our view. So I am looking at the client's base, and I am looking at my session notes table, And the view that I'm looking at specifically is send to client. This is why it's really important to clearly label your views, because we don't know otherwise. Unless you've clearly labeled your view, you're not going to know exactly which one you're looking at. So send to client is what I want. And then we're going to be testing our trigger right here. So I'm going to test this trigger. This will only work if data already exists in that view. So if you haven't added any records to that view yet, you're going to get an error. I already have this record in this view, so we're good to go. I'm going to continue, and then I'm going to head over and set up Gmail. So select Gmail here. I'm going to send an email. If you have multiple accounts, you might have to select which one. I only have this one account set up to this Zapier account. And here you're setting everything up. So you're going to send it to the client. I use a lookup field where I store the client's email, the client's first name, etc. You can add a CC, a BCC, etc. Right now, I'm just going to add a subject line, so something like session notes from, and if you'll remember, I stored the date of session here. So I'm combining session notes, I'm combining text here with whatever's currently inside of that row, inside of that particular cell. And then body, I'm going to say hello, and then I'll use the client name, which I added as a lookup field as well. Here are our session notes from our meeting on, and again, I'll input the date of session just to specify which specific one it is. And then underneath that, I will include our session notes. And then this will include every single thing that is in that record. Have a great week. And you can just select your name here. You can format this however you want. So I'm just using a very simple plain text email. You can also use HTML if you want to format it, if you want to add images or play around with things like heading text or bolding. This here is just really simple for now, since I'm just showing you how to automate this process. And I will continue. And here we go. So you'll see what it's going to look like. So it'll show you exactly what the client's email is, the subject line, the body of the email. This is ready to send. So I'm going to test and continue. And yep, all right, let's head over to my email account so that we can see if we did, in fact, receive that email. Yep, here we go. Here are the session notes from 2021, 8/17, and then you'll see that the content of the email looks just like this. So just like we formatted in Zapier, this is how it looks in the emails that you send out. Again, you can format it in whatever way you want. Now, you don't have to use checkboxes here. You can use a single select column, a multi-select column, however you want to do that. But in essence, that's how you do it. If you got any value from this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I add new videos up to 5 times a week with tips, best practices, and how-tos aimed at helping entrepreneurs, especially coaches, create automations, processes, and workflows designed to save them time, money, and potentially attract more clients. And if you're looking at this and you think that it might still be a little too complicated for you, you can either contact me for a free 15-minute consultation where we can talk about how to best help set you up for success, or you can check out the Hello Lily app designed specifically to make client management simple for career coaches. See you next time.